Hi guys, welcome back to the Teenage Playbook. Today we're going to talk about something that might sound boring, but it's actually super important. Money credit and how to get out of debt and avoid it. Learning about credit cards and debt might not be exactly entertaining for everyone, but it's better to learn young than later on. Today we have a special guest with us. Please welcome Samder Khangarot, the CEO and co-founder of Bot Credit AI. How are you today?
Hi, Josslyn. I'm good. Thanks for inviting me on this podcast. Super excited to talk about credit.
Of course. Okay, so I want to first get to know you a little bit more. So, can you please tell us a bit about yourself and how you got interested in not only helping adults with money but also teens?
Yeah, when I was growing up, I had no background in credit cards or like how credit industry works. And when I got into business school, I really struggled to manage my debts, and I had a student loan and I had credit cards, and I was always like, hey, when to pay which payment? And I was like, okay, this is a huge problem. And I wish I knew when I was in high school how to build my credit, how to manage my credit. And like that became a foundation of building bond credit. And like I feel financial education should start early. And there should be a way for consumers to learn about credit, and not just learn about credit, but also like how to build credit, how to grow credit, and something that parallelly works alongside learning.
Yeah, definitely. I think so too. Honestly, I have really bad spending habits, so it's probably really good for me. Okay,
Yeah.
so you kind of already
Bond can
answered
help
this.
you. Bond can certainly help you, right? Like you can
Yeah,
manage your
definitely.
spending, and like track where are you spending. You can track like categories where you are spending. You can compare your spending behavior. And the best part is you don't need to do any of those, because our AI agents will do that for you. So our AI agents will budget for you. Our AI agents will like analyze your spending behavior and tell like, hey, where you can cut down your spend, and like have some emergency fund, and just help you plan your finances better.
Yeah. Okay, yeah, for sure. So why should teenagers care about credit now? Because I know a lot of my peers around me, they're like, oh, it's whatever. It's my parents' money. I'll just spend it and I'll figure it out in the future.
Yeah, I think it's important to care about credit, because when you go in the real world, right, like you will need credit. You will need credit to buy first car. You will need credit to like even get into a rental property. All these things will ask for a credit score, and if you don't have a credit score or a good credit, you're gonna struggle renting out a place. You're gonna struggle buying your first car, right? And even if you with buy your first car with your parents money, right, it could be an expensive, right? Like it could have high APR rates, which is very expensive, right? So it's very important to start building credit early. It's very important to understand how credit works, right? Because in long term it's going to help you, right? So at some point you'll buy your car, you'll buy your home, you'll go to college, you need student loans, right? So you can have a cheaper student loan rate if you have a good credit. But if you have a bad credit, no one gonna give you a student loan, right? So that's why it's very important for teens to have good financial habits and have a good credit and understand how credit works.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, so how can understanding credit early on help me and my friends avoid problems like student loans and stuff?
Yeah, so I think student loan is kind of a mandatory thing if it's not funded by your parents, right?
Mm-hmm.
And most institutions look into your credit history, right? And most teens don't have a credit history, right? They don't have a credit history. They don't have any active loans, right? The only loan most teenagers have is a credit card, or maybe some buy now pay later. And you can use those two things to build your credit, right? So let's say you have a credit score of 650 or 700, right, which you can easily build once you start working after your high school, or like while you are in school, right? Because you have some income, and when you have some income, you can take some credit, you can take some a small loan, pay it in installment. You can convert your buy now pay later, right? Like if you buy an iPhone or anything, you can
Yeah.
convert that into building your credit score. Let's say you purchase your first car while you were in high school, with your own money, and you pay all the installments on time. You can show that in building your credit, right? So all these little things, right? Like paying your credit card bill on time, paying your car loan on time, paying buy now pay later payments on time will help you build credit. And by the time you go to college, right, you'll have a history like, hey, look at this last 6 months or 12 months, I paid all the bills on time, I kept my credit card utilization below 30%, right? So these things really build your credit, and once you have good credit, you will have like really good low cost APR student loans when you go to college.
Oh, okay. Yeah. But like teenagers like my age, they don't have credit cards. They probably use like debit cards or something. So like can Bond Credit AI work for someone that has a debit card instead of like a credit card or something?
Yeah, so if you have a debit card, there are other forms of building credit as well, right? As I said, like buy now, pay later products, you can use them in building credit. There are credit builder products, right? So you can take a micro loan, let's say $500 of debt, and pay it every month, right? And or maybe like $200 in a credit card, or like in a credit builder debt, and pay $50 or $10 or $20, whatever plan you want, and build your credit with that, right? So that could be super helpful for teenagers, right? You don't need a credit card to build credit, right? There are other ways you can also build credit, right? Of course, credit card is the easiest way to build credit. If you can get a credit card, that's amazing. There are a lot of platforms that offer credit card for teenagers. Of course, the credit limit will be less. It could be just $500 or something, but that's a good start to build your credit.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay.
So yeah. And like if you don't know what to do, you can come to Bond Credit and try out our product Credit GPT. That will really answer any question you have related to credit card. You can ask like, hey, I don't have a credit card, I'm like 16 and I need to build credit, how should I start, right? And
Yeah.
our AI product will tell you like, hey, these are the best options for you, right? These are the best credit cards you can have as a student. Maybe the limit will be, as I said, very low. And these are like credit builder products for you. You can take a micro loan and pay over next few weeks and months, and then build your credit with this in next 6 months. So by the time you go to college, you will have some credit history.
Yeah. Okay, so I was like kind of playing around with like the bot earlier, and like I was asking it some questions, obviously, because I was curious. And then I was wondering like how accurate the information is, and like how is it verified that it's actually correct?
Which information?
Like when it answers the question, it gives you like the best options, right? I was wondering like how accurate the information is because like I don't know, some AIs they like for example, ChatGPT, not like every single piece of information that's given is always true. So I was wondering like how it's verified.
Yeah, so the way our AI agent work is in real time. Our agents go and search the internet, right? So they
Oh,
will
okay.
go and see like, hey, what is the current rate, or what are the current offers? Is there any annual fee? What are the terms and conditions? And then come and show that information to the user. But still, like AI is still hallucinating, right? So we
Yeah.
use Llama 3 model on which we have built on top of it, which we have built our own LLM for credit cards, right? So yeah, like base models sometimes have hallucinations, and that might impact the final results, right? So I do agree with your point, like, hey, ChatGPT sometimes give a different information, and like when you go to the source of the information presented there is a different. So I totally agree with you.
Yeah, one time I was like on ChatGPT and I asked it for about like a book, and then I searched up the book and it didn't even exist. So I was like really confused why it even gave me that answer. But yeah, it's good that yours is like actually
Yeah,
verified. It's
yeah.
accurate. Yeah. Okay. So Can teens use your bot to learn about managing money and building like good credit habits?
Yeah, they can use Bond app. They can manage their credit cards. If they don't have credit cards, they can still use Bond and manage their bank account and debit card spending behavior. They can, still learn about credit. They can explore options for student loan or, credit builder product. So there are like tons of options for teens, even if they don't have a credit card. So totally okay.
Yeah.
And of
Okay.
course, like we have amazing deals and rewards for people as well, so you can explore shopping options and get cash back when you shop anything on Bon app.
Oh, I love shopping. Oh my god. It's like a really bad habit of mine, but I really like shopping. I
Yeah,
don't think it's a
and our
bad
AI
habit.
agents will recommend products that are that are purely personalized to your spending behavior, right? So let's say you love sports, or you love hiking, so our AI agents will show you products in that space, right? So you'll not see any random pop-up like, hey, what should I do with this, right? So yeah, it will be very personalized shopping experience.
Oh, that's really good because I play like golf, so that's really expensive. I'm like wasting a lot of money on clubs, but
Yeah,
it helps.
and like our AI agents will also do budgeting for you, right? So let's say
Oh
if you
yeah,
are overspending, our AI agents will tell you like, hey, compared to last month, you did like $100 more on spend more on dining, right? You should keep a
yeah.
track of that, right? So you don't need to worry about like if you are overspending, because agents will keep a track and give you informed decisions, so that you have a very holistic picture. Like, hey, my income is this much, and I need to save this much every month, and if I spend this much, like, it's going to be issue, right? So our AI agents will help you manage your overspending, keep a track of like where is your every dollar going, right? So you have a 360-degree view of how money moves for you, so that you can have a better control of your finances.
Oh, wait, that's so cool. But like that's the great
Yeah.
thing about AI. Okay, so talking about cool guys, what's the coolest thing the AI can like do to help people understand their money better?
There are tons of things AI can do. First, as I said, like AI can budget for you. AI can tell
Yeah.
you like how much to spend and where to spend, right? So that's the first step. Second thing is AI can help you get out of debt or reduce debt, right? So let's say there are close to 100 million Americans have a credit card debt, right? So they carry balances month on month, and they pay like a huge interest rate on their credit cards, right? On their credit card debt. How AI can help them is like finding the best refinance option for them. That's first. Second, AI can help them, with debt relief program. AI will find like, hey, these are the best options for you to get out of debt, and plan and a complete roadmap on how to reduce debt as well as how to come out of debt. So those are the things AI can do. AI can also find best credit offers for you, like, hey, what is the best card for you, or what is the best loan for you. So our AI agents will go and search the internet and find the best credit products for which you can be eligible, and maybe do pre-qualification. And so these are like tons of things AI can do. And AI can create personalized credit options for you, like, hey, this is your income, this is your spend, these are the kinds of debt you have, right? And prioritize like which card you should pay first, right, based on the balance you have, right? So there are like tons of things AI can do for you. Like AI can do budgeting, AI can do spend tracking, AI can do credit builder, AI can help you reduce debt, right? So all these
Mhm.
things are phenomenal, and AI can find the best credit products for you.
Oh, that's great to hear. Like my dream car is like a Mercedes, so it's like one of those big G wagons because I really like big cars. So
Yeah.
it can help. Okay,
Yeah.
so can you share me like a story of a teen who used Bond Credit AI and did something or like learned something that was really cool?
Yeah, so we are still in private beta. We're gonna launch
Okay,
early
yeah.
October, right? But like for teens, the best product in Born AI will be managing their money, right? If they have a credit card, that's great, because you can earn rewards, and like you can keep tracking of your utilization, bill payments, right? Everything in one place. If you don't have a credit card, you can still link your bank account, and you can keep track of how your money is growing, or like where are you spending, right? So all those things will be super helpful.
Okay. Um, my next question is also for teens. Okay, I think all of these are just for teens. But what mistakes do you see teens make the most when it comes to spending money or saving money or like anything financially related?
Yeah, I think the number one mistake most people make, not just teens, is overutilizing their credit card. Most teens don't know that they have to keep their credit card spending below 30% of their credit limit, right? So let's say you have a credit card and your credit limit is $1,000. So if you want your if you want your credit score to go up, you can only use your credit card up to 30%, which is like $300. If you use more than that, let's say you spend $500 or $600 on your credit card, and that shows in your credit statement, right? If you can use as much of that money you want, but like then you have to make a payment before your statement is generated, right? So you don't
Mhm.
want to show this information on your monthly credit card statement that you have utilized your credit limit above 30%, right? So if you use your credit limit above 30%, your credit score will rarely increase, right? And this is gonna have a huge impact on building your credit history, right? So that's like the number one mistake most people make, not just teens, right? So it's like whenever you
Mhm.
have a credit card, make sure your utilization is below 30%. And if it is more than 30%, make sure you make a bill payment before your statement is generated, right? So
Mhm.
making payments on time and keeping utilization below 30% can increase your credit score dramatically over next few months.
Oh, wait, so if, for example, they can't pay that money that they like the credit that they use, would that like is that how like debt forms?
What? Can you repeat your question?
So like if they can't pay back the amount of credit that they used on the credit card, does that mean they're like officially in debt now and they can't just like pay it back?
Yeah, if they cannot pay that money on time, they are officially in debt. And that's why, like as I said earlier in our conversation, close to 100 million Americans revolve credit card balances month on month, right? So in this case, what most people do, they do a minimum balance payment, right? And then like they carry forward the remaining balance, and that's where the credit card debt cycle begin, right? So that's why we suggest, like, hey, don't overspend. So our AI agent is parallelly working to track your spending, and like everything falls into budget. And make sure, like, in case you don't have money, right, so we'll suggest credit products for you so that you don't get into high APR interest rates with credit card, right? Let's say you have $1,000 bill coming on a credit card. You don't have $1,000 now, right? And you are
Mhm.
thinking like, hey, I can do maybe $50 in minimum payment and still maintain my credit history that I am paying my bills on time, but you will be charged interest on the remaining $950, right? And the option could be like, hey, if you have a credit card, that's gonna charge like 28% or 30% interest on that $950. Or you can take a personal loan of $950 at maybe 15% interest rate, right? Or maybe 10% interest rate, or maybe 20% interest rate, right? So you pay that credit card bill, so that you don't have a high interest rate, but you still have debt, which is cheaper debt, right? We still
Mhm.
advise to avoid any kind of debt, because unless it's a good debt. So good debt is a debt that helps you build assets, right? Let's say when you want to buy a home, that's a good debt, right? So you can buy a
Mhm.
home, the value increases. And with HELOC, you like, once you have one property and the value of that property increases, you have more line of credit which you can use in paying your debts, or maybe investing more.
Oh, well, good debt. I don't think I've ever heard of that, but that's good to know. Learning new things every day. Okay, so I know that like some people they're really bad at saving money. Like even if they have like a plan set up, they can't follow it and they end up just like, oh, I'll make it up next month or something.
Yeah.
So like, how can we like I guess, kind of get rid of that idea and try to like stay focused on not spending your money?
Yeah, I think the first step is understanding where are you spending, right? So keep a track of it, right? Most people don't have tools to track their spending, right? The only thing they can use is their banking app, or wherever they are spending, right? So they can go into their native app and see like, hey, if I using this credit card or a debit card or this like cash, where the money is going, right? uh,
Mhm.
and most people don't have those tools, right? But with bondcredit.ai, people can come, they can download the app, and they can see where every dollar is going, right? Are they spending more on dining? Are they spending more on like entertainment? Or are they spending more on like Amazon or e-commerce, right? So you'll have complete analytics. Plus our AI agents will also help, like how much to spend, based on your income, right? Let's say you have $10,000 monthly income, or let's say $5,000, as doing part-time job with your high school, right? And you are spending, let's say, pretty much all the money, right? And by the end of the year you have to pay taxes, and now you have no money left in the account, right? So in those cases, you really need someone who could have planned things in advance, like, hey, you have $5,000 coming in, and you have to pay a certain amount of money at the end of the year in taxes. So make sure you have that money in your bank accounts, right? So that's the first thing, right? Second thing is, like, have an emergency fund. So the first thing you should do is to pay yourself once you get paid, right? That could
Mhm.
be a new concept for most of the teens, but let's say you get a paycheck of $5,000 after the end of every month. The first thing you should do is like pay yourself, have an emergency fund. So Bond will also be building a tool where you can have an emergency fund, pay yourself first, right? Let's say on every first of every month, you pay 10% of whatever your income is into an emergency fund. It could be like $500 or $1,000 every month you put into that emergency fund. Of course you will earn interest on that emergency fund as well, right? So that's going to be super helpful uh, to building a emergency fund. And also keep track of your spend behavior based on that. So you have already paid yourself, right, $1,000 out of that $500. You have already put some money aside for upcoming taxes, right? Let's say $200 or something. And then you have like this remaining 3,800 or whatever amount you want to have for spending, right? And we'll
Mhm.
advise not to spend all of that, right? Because our AI agent has already budgeted things for you, like, hey, this much for rent, this much for travel, this much for car insurance, this much for food and dining, this much is for clothing, this much is for like gifting friends or something, this much is for charity, right? So like, hey, I have only $500 to spend on like food. I cannot eat out every single day, so I need to cook my meals at home. Or like, I'm spending too much at Starbucks or coffee, or I should rather buy a coffee machine and make coffee at home, right? So just
Yeah.
imagine having a coffee every day at a cafe can cost you like tons of money, thousands of dollars in a year, right? But if you buy a coffee machine and make coffee at home, it will be much cheaper than spending $5 for every coffee every day.
Yeah. Okay, yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Cause like it all piles up and it ends up being like, oh, I wish I didn't spend so much on this.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So my next question is some people they like I don't know, I don't want to like direct this to anyone, but I know a couple people that like spend money every day and it's like part of their like daily life and they can't go one day without just like eating at home or something. So like how can they, I guess, reduce that need to go out and eat?
I think that's a personal habit thing, right? But
Yeah.
the best thing our AI agent can give you is like an analysis, like, hey, if you keep spending $100 every day, or like $200 every day, by 30th of this month you'll have no money, right? So it
Okay.
will give you a kind of analysis of that overspending habit, right? and
Yeah.
and you have no option, but like, you have to reduce your spending, otherwise you'll go into debt, right? And it
Mhm.
will also tell you like, hey, if you take debt, you're gonna pay this much interest in this many years, right? So on a $10,000 debt, you might end up paying, like $18,000 in interest over 20 years or 10 years, right? So it will
Mhm.
give you like that analysis, like, hey, the problem you are gonna going in, this is going to be the impact of that problem, right? So
Mhm.
make a more informed decisions.
Oh, okay. So you're basically just scaring them to make sure they don't spend more?
Yeah, I think because otherwise they will get into debt cycle, right? And once you are into
Yeah.
debt cycle, it's a whole different life, right? You need a different approach. It's very expensive, right? It's very stressful as well, right?
Mhm.
um, and we try to avoid as much as possible, and help people to avoid that problem, right?
Mhm.
And those who are into debt, we really want to help them. We really want to reduce debt, and or maybe like refinance to cheaper debt and help them to quickly get out of debt, right?
Yeah.
Right, and move from like bad debt to good debt, right? So let's say you
Oh,
had so much bad debt. Now you get rid of that bad debt and move to good debt. So you take that like to build more assets. You buy home or you invest that money, that gives you more income and more cash flow, right? So that
Mhm.
that can be super helpful to a lot of people.
Okay. So how do you like balance wanting things now and like versus saving it for later? Because like some people they're like, oh, the second they see this, they're like, oh, I want this. But like, what's the perks of like just not buying it and saving your money and buying it when you actually have money?
Yeah, so our AI agent will also know like where have you already spending too much, right? So let's say you are just spending too much on e-commerce, right? So agent knows like, hey, this is not good for you. Every day you are buying five things on Amazon, right?
Oh,
Or like you are
oh,
going to like some thrift store and like keep spending there. So that's the thing our AI agent will tell you, like, hey, you are spending way too much on this one category, and seems like you may not need it, right? It's
yeah.
it's just like some people have that phobia of just spending online. Like once they fall in love with, let's say, boba tea, they will drink five times a day, you know, and spending like $30 or $50 every single day for next 10 days. $500 within just few weeks, on drinking boba tea, and they can bring their friends and maybe pay for their friends. That's all good to have fun, but you should also understand like how it's going to impact your finances, right? So bondcredit.ai really gives you that holistic view, like, hey, if you do this action, that's the impact it's going to have on your finances, right?
Uh
So
huh.
I think informed decisions is the best way to understand your behavior. Where are you spending, right? Let's say you have no idea where you are spending, right? So you have
Yeah.
$1,000, either you earn or get in a pocket money, right? And you don't budget, you don't plan, and by the end of month you just see like you have no idea how much money is left, right? Whatever cash is in the wallet, that's it, right? It
Hmm.
could be $50, it could be $500, you have no idea, right? And the plan is like, if you have more information around that, like, hey, out of those $1,000 you have $300 cash, right? And if you save all these $300, you'll have like $3,000 in 10 months, right? So that's a lot of money. That's like extra pocket money or like income from for 3 months, right? So that's super helpful to a lot of young people.
Oh. Okay, so like a follow-up question kinda. Does Bond Credit AI like let you know like, oh, you're financially stable so you can get what you wanted like a year ago?
Yeah, definitely.
Okay.
That product, we are still building that product, right? So
Okay.
in future we'll have our income and budgeting AI agents, right? So they will tell you like, hey, a year ago that was your financial situation, and today this is your financial situation. And if you stay on this good financial behavior path, your this will be your financial situation after a year, right? So it's gonna be
Mhm.
super like comparison based and more informative decisions to you.
Okay. Um I don't know if this is really something you can answer because I don't know. But are there any fun ways for teens to learn about money? Because I know not a lot of people they think that financial stuff is interesting. They're like,
Yeah,
oh,
yeah, I
it's
think
so
most
good.
people have, have a tendency to not enjoy financial learning, right?
Yeah.
It's very boring, right? And
Mm-hmm.
with that first principle, and that was actually one of the reasons we built our AI agents, because most people don't want to learn about money and how money works, right?
Mm-hmm.
So and that's why they use bondcredit.ai, because they don't need to learn how money works, because agents
Yeah.
are AI has learned everything: how credit works, how money works, how budgeting works, how to build your credit score works, right? How to manage spending works, how to refinance. Everything is learned by our AI agents, so you don't need to learn actually, right? So you come to bond, link your accounts, and that's it. Our AI agents will take care. All you need to do is pay bills on time and keep track of your utilization, right? Which is already done by AI. So we are showing you how much you have utilized, where you have utilized, and where are you spending, and just keep control on those spending, and that's it. And there are tons of options for you to play around. There will be free prizes every day. You can come and win and collect gift cards. Like you can get a free Apple AirPods, or free Nike shoes, right? So yeah, there are a lot of ways by which you can come and participate on Bond every day. You can chat with credit gpt and ask like random questions related to your money or finance or credit or spending, right? Our AI
Mm-hmm.
agent will help you navigate, right? So yeah, let's say you have a debit card from Bank of America and you are planning a trip somewhere, and you can ask like, hey, I'm going to Yosemite National Park, or I'm going to Hawaii, and I have this debit card. Tell me best things to do with this. And our agent will say like, hey, you already have these offers on your debit card, right? So debit cards
Mm-hmm.
also give you offers, right? It could be access to airport lounge. It could be like getting some discount on some bakery, or like some discount at some hotel, right? So right, most people don't even know that, right? What are the
Mm.
offers on their debit card or credit card, but our AI agents will help you navigate those things as well.
Okay, that's great to hear.
Yeah.
Okay. So my last two questions are first, what's one money tip a teen can do today that makes a difference for their like financial situation?
I think I'll say two, not one,
Okay, yeah.
and both related to credit cards, right? Because that is like one product most teens, when they go to college or when they start working, they will have, right? Pretty much every adult is having a credit card, right? So I
Yeah.
think I'll give two tips. One, always pay your bills on time. Never miss a bill payment. If you are
Yeah.
not on auto pay, try to just make sure that you pay your credit card bills before the due dates, and try to pay at least 3 to 5 days before the due date, because banks do take 3 to 5 days to settle the payment, right? So that's the first advice. Second advice is keep your utilization below 30%. I'll say, in fact, keep your utilization below 10%, right? So that shows like, hey, and keep it consistent, right? And if you use more than 10% or 30%, make sure you make a bill payment before the statement is generated, right? So that it doesn't reflect in your credit report, right? So in your credit report, you should show that you have utilized your credit limit less than 10%. Even if it requires you to make multiple bill payments, or like multiple payments to your credit card issuer, do that. So to recap, pay your bills on time, and keep
Mhm.
your utilization low.
Yeah. Okay. Those are two great pieces of advice. Okay, so before we end, I was wondering if there's like anything else that you wanted like teens to know or anyone that's watching to know, like how to be money smart and debt free.
Yeah, I think the best way for them to be money smart and debt free and to build credit and basically get into this world of finance and credit is simply go on bondcredit.ai and use our product. That's it. They don't need to do anything beyond that, right? Our AI agents will work for them, and like have best offers for them, have best credit cards for them, have best like credit builder products for them. So yeah, just use the product and then learn about how the whole money works or the credit world works.
Yeah, definitely. AI makes things like so much easier these days.
Yeah.
Okay, well, thank you so much for being here with us today. I learned so
Yeah,
much,
pleasure.
and I know that our listeners did too, of course. I learned so much about how to manage my spending habits and how like an actual credit card works from you and Bomb Credit AI. So if you guys want to check out more about how to manage your finances and credit cards, then go check out Bomb Credit AI now. Again, thank you so much for joining us, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye.